time for part 2 of this week's episode of Student of the Gun Radio. You're ready. I'm ready. Jared's ready. Let's do it. All right, folks. We just, during the break between the two segments, we always take a little break. We get up, refresh our coffee, and we talk about what we're going to do in part 2 and, kind of update the show notes and what have you. And where our studio is right now, where it's set up, I would say that the Student of the Gun official radio studio setup probably has more live, genuine firearms in it than any other gun-based radio show on planet Earth. What do you think, Jared?
Live, like they're moving around, walking, and
no, like real guns, not props.
Oh,
not like stage props or toys or what have you.
Well, I thought we were giving some journalist something to write about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. And for those of you that live in slave states that believe that you need to be given permission by the government to own or possess or even touch a firearm, here in free America, I can spin my little chair around and I can have one of many firearms in my hands. And you know what I have for them, Jared? What do they have?
Ammunition?
Ammunition. I have magazines loaded with
actual ammunition, not
actual
black powder
ammunition.
bullets.
Yeah, not bullets, projectiles. But anyway, so we're sitting here in our studio, and I had a great idea because I have those once in a while. And I thought, Jared, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do Name That Tune on the radio because, hey, this is a sound-based media here. But we're not just going to do any old Name That Tune. We're going to do Student of the Gun Name That Tune. And you guys can play along. You can participate from home. Now, Jared, how can they participate?
We are going to... Dad's going to sit over there at his little microphone, and he is going to move the parts or make some noise with a certain firearm. And you're going to guess which firearm that is. And you know
It's
how...
going to be 5.
There's going to be 5. And the first person to get all 5 of them correct, we are going to give a Student of the Gun t-shirt. We'll probably throw a sticker in there too.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, of course.
We'll ship you a t-shirt and a sticker. And you're going to go to... You want to do... Let's do Twitter.
Okay, we'll do Twitter.
Let's do Twitter. We'll post your answers on Twitter. Name them 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And they obviously have to be in the same order. And hashtag, that's a £sign for all you people that...
For you old guys, yeah, hashtag is the £sign.
Yeah, the £sign, hashtag it, Student of the Gun. And then...
How about just you want to do capital SOTG?
Yeah, just do capital SO... No, let's do hashtag Student of the Gun, N as in name, T as in the, and T as in tune. So Student of the Gun.
NTT?
NTT.
Name that tune.
That way I can click on it and look at all the answers.
Okay, that's how Jared's going to go ahead and go through them. Now, are you ready? Now, I'm going to do each one of these noises twice so that you can hear it very clearly.
All right, number 1.
All right, here goes, ladies and gentlemen. You can't do this in France.
And I want you to tell us what firearm that is. Doesn't have to be a specific model, but it does have to be a specific model.
Yeah, it has to be the model, but not the manufacturer.
Not the manufacturer. Number 2. What was that one?
That was a softball. Most of you guys will probably get this one.
Number 3.
That was a softball, too.
Let's give him a hardball. Number 4.
Well, that was 3 times.
Well, that one was it was a little bit more difficult, so you're welcome.
All right, now this one is going to separate the men from the boys and the women from the girls. All right, there's your 5 gun-related noises for the Student of the Gun Name That Tune. Get on it, folks.
And you're going to go to Student of the Gun's Twitter. That's twitter.com/Student of the Gun. Or you could actually even post it on your timeline. But you name all 5 of them, number them 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Tell us what firearms they are in succession. And
well, I don't care if they put them in. If they get all 5, they get all. Okay, Jared.
I care. I'm a caring man.
Jared cares.
And you're going to hashtag it. That's the #, Student of the Gun, NTT.
All right, folks. Now that we've played our very first round of Student of the Gun, Name That Tune. We may have just broke ground here, Jared. We may have made history. Right? Just happened. That could have just happened.
It did just happen.
It did just happen.
Obviously, it's history. In 2 days, it'll be.
That's right. We just made history. We played the first ever round of Student of the Gun, Name That Tune. We're probably going to get letters now that says you're not allowed to use the words "name that tune" in succession because,
Name the tunes.
Yeah, name the tunes. Well, while we're naming tunes and while you guys are thinking about it and you're penciling down your answers, or what you're doing is you're rewinding the podcast and you're playing it over and over and over again. We want to thank all of our sponsors. Our sponsors, Kel-Tec Weapons of Cocoa, Florida, Crossbreed Holsters of Republic, Missouri. Check them out at crossbreedholsters.com. Yeah, Colt.com. And if you guys watched our recent episode, you saw Mark Riddle, the sponsored competition shooter from Colt, and he was on there. He told us about some of his adventures and what have you. Actually, we have, if you guys watched that episode, if you watched the new one with Mark Riddle from Colt, he's the competition shooter. He shoots is it open? No, it's not open. It's stock defensive pistol or enhanced defensive, whatever. It's whatever category you use a 1911 in, and he shoots the Combat Elite. We actually have one of those Combat Elite pistols with some excess sights on it. We're going to be featuring it on upcoming episodes of Student of the Gun TV, so check that out. And so that brings us up to Kel-Tec, Crossbreed, Colt, and excess sights. Now, you already, if you pulled this up on your podcast app on iTunes or Stitcher or whatever you happen to be using, you saw the title of this episode, and it's Californians Are Insane. Yes, I said it. Californians are insane.
Insane in the membrane.
Insane in the membrane.
Actually, it would be insane, got no brain. There you go.
Got no brain. Well, here's what Jared's going to do. He's going to go ahead and drop it like it's hot. He's going to give us our slave state news update.
I like to teach you all the rules. I get to see them set in stone. I like it when you chain me to the bed, but then you see.
Okay, you know what that music means. Control. And that's a perfect slave state update. Now, you guys remember our buddy Leland Yee from out there in the glorious People's Republic of California?
We don't have a buddy named Leland Yee.
Yeah, whatever.
He's not our buddy.
Yeah, you know what. They're picking up on my facetiousness. Okay.
That's a big word for you.
That is a big word for you. Well, this story comes to us from thenews.kron4.com. And as you guys know, we just had an election day last Tuesday, a week ago Tuesday. There was an election day.
If you don't know that, shame on you.
And, well, Leland Yee, why do we know that name? You're scratching your head. You're like, I don't live in the glorious People's Republic of California, but I've heard that name before. Maybe I heard it on Student of the Gun Radio, because Leland Yee is a very outspoken gun control activist. He put his name on a lot of gun control bills, anti-gun bills, gun restriction laws, and not only that, but Leland Yee hates violent video games.
Is that the only reason we know about him?
Well, we know that about him, and then we also know that, oh shoot, Leland Yee was busted in a gun trafficking scheme. What?
You mean a politician was dishonest?
A politician?
No.
Who called for your disarmament and said that we need more laws to protect our citizens was busted trying to import not just guns, but rocket launchers and heavy caliber. Dude, they were trying to smuggle RPGs and rocket launchers in, and Leland Yee was trying to funnel guns to his buddies in The Chinese mafia. How awesome is that?
Well, they're lining his pockets. You know that.
Oh yeah, he needed some campaign cash.
So we've got, on one hand here, we've got this Kelvin dude from, I don't even remember where he was from, seizing a shipment of airsoft guns.
Kelvin, the ATF agent.
Yeah, ATF, that's what he is.
Seizing a shipment of airsoft guns because they could be converted into fully automatic machine guns.
And then we've got like actual weapons of war here being imported in.
We have Leland Yee, who's trying to who was busted by the FBI on a scheme to funnel military weapons into the hands of the Chinese mafia in San Francisco. How awesome is that? Well, you guys know about that because you're dedicated students of the gun. And we talked about it. And you're like, well, big deal, Paul. Well, what is the big deal? The big deal was that Leland Yee was on the ballot here last Tuesday. And you're like, well, but he's under federal indictment and he's out on bail. How can he still be on the ballot? Well, after he was busted and all the charges were filed and so forth, he actually bowed out of the race. But it was too late to remove old Leland's name from the ballot. They're like, oh, it's just too late. We can't redo the ballots, so we're just going to have to leave his name on there. And according to the news story here, suspended state senator Leland Yee dropped out of the race for Secretary of State, but it seems that over 280,000 voters didn't get the memo. What? Yeah. Apparently, over 250,000 insane California residents don't get the paper. We're not aware that when they went into the voting booth to vote for their buddy Leland Yee, that he was currently under federal indictment for numerous gun trafficking and corruption charges. You're like, what? But Paul, is that a problem? You mean the voters are voting in ignorance, in flat out ignorance, that we have voters, we have people going into the booths that not only are just voting. I guess he had a D behind his name. And they're like, well, anybody with a D behind his name, that's who I'm voting for. They didn't get the memo that he was under indictment. And, okay, you're like, all right, well, that's just one thing, Paul. That's just, you can't say that people in California are insane just based on the fact that over 250,000 people cast their vote for this dude. Okay, all right. You say, I want more proof. I don't believe you. Well, what do we know about California history? We know a little bit about California history, don't we, Jared? We know that they have a hippie liberal peace love dope Governor Moonbeam, Jerry Brown. They couldn't get quite enough of peace love dope hippie Jerry Brown the first couple of times around. They had to wait another 15, 20 plus years. And they reelected him, and this is where I knew that all my friends in California who claim to be conservatives, and they may be, claim to be pro-gun, claim to be all that, and for years I would hear these my friends who lived in San Diego or L.A. or wherever they happen to be living, and you may be one of those people out there, and they would tell me, no, you're basing California just off of L.A. and San Francisco. That's it, Paul. You're basing your opinion on California on L.A. and San Francisco. And they would tell me, they would look me straight in the eye and say, there are more conservatives in California than there are liberal Democrats, Paul. You don't understand. You're just, you're basing your whole opinion on those two cities. Folks, L.A. and San Francisco may not be the entire state. But I tell you what, Governor Peace Love Dope Hippie Jerry Moonbeam Brown has never been a friend of the hardworking conservative person. He's never been a friend of the American gun owner. He's never been a friend of people who believe in the founding of this nation, how it was founded on individual liberty, not the mob, not giving free stuff to people, not redistribution of wealth. Well, he's like, why are you bringing that up, Paul? Well, because I got a little bit more evidence here. This comes to us from the LATimes.com. More evidence that people in California are insane. Governor Jerry Brown takes easy lead and will face Neil Kashkari in November. That's right. Your boy Moonbeam. Dashing towards an unprecedented fourth term, Governor Jerry Brown romped to victory Tuesday in the state primary. So, yeah, it's not like you don't know who this guy is. It's not like who's Jerry Brown? He might be a reasonable guy. He might be good for the state of California. He might turn things around. He might be pro-business and pro-individual liberty. No, we know that he's a peace, love, dope, hippie moonbeam. But you people out there, keep on voting for him. Stop telling me that there are more conservatives in California than there are liberal hippies. Stop telling me, because it's not true. I have the evidence right here in front of me. Now, before we go into that, we want to talk about something. When we talk about LA, we talk about Hollywood, we talk about TV. The awesome thing about the current internet revolution, the current online revolution, is that, 20 to 30 years ago, if you wanted to make TV, if you wanted to make television, you either did it locally and you broadcast it on, WWJR, Tampa, and you had a little local TV station, and people who lived in that area could watch it. You lived in Biloxi, Mississippi, and you'd be on, TV, 25 TV, and you have an audience of 100,000 people or 50,000 people. But if you wanted to broadcast nationwide, you had to play the game of either LA, Hollywood, or New York. You had to play their game. You had to play by their rules. You had to do what they said. You had to do it how they said it. Well, that has all changed, and that's a good thing for you and I. You no longer have to play by the, hippie, liberal, peace, love, dope, LA, Hollywood rules. We don't need them. You're like, what? That's right. We don't need them. We don't have to play by the rules. We don't have to get permission from them. We can make our own television, our own video material, and we can make it available to you without getting permission from CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox, you name it. Don't need their permission because it's 2014. And that brings me up to, obviously, our announcement of the Roku app. We've been working really hard behind the scenes. Jared and I have. We just recently cut a deal with Wilderness TV so that we could make Student of the Gun television not only available to you on Dish Network, Channel 266, but now through the Roku app, the Apple TV app, and Chromecast. So, and we're going to be posting updates all the time. If you're not following us, I know a lot of you are like, I don't like social media. I don't like it. It's dumb. It annoys me. Well, okay, I got you. But you got to get your information from somewhere. So if you hate Facebook, you hate Twitter, you hate all that jazz, but hey, I know that you like the internet. I know that you like because you're listening to the show right now. Go to studentofthegun.com, sign up for our newsletter over there on the right-hand side. Just fill in your first name. All we're asking is your first name and your email address. Click it. It'll send you an email. It's a confirmation email. Now, when you guys get that, you have to actually open it, and there's a little link. It says, do you wish to confirm your subscription? If so, click below. It's pretty simple, right? So you click it, bam, you're added to the list, and Jared will send you an email with updates, what's going on with the show. And a lot of times, there's always something going on with the show. Is there not, Jared?
They're all TV show, radio, something with Student of the Gun is always going on.
Yeah, there's always something going on with Student of the Gun.
Actually, speaking of which, I don't know, you probably noticed as well, the new article that was put up this week, Illusion of Neutrality. Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't want to get the title wrong there. That's not the full title, but anyway, it had some pretty good kickback. We got some people's
feedback.
Yeah.
Kickback.
What did I say?
You said pretty good kickback. I didn't get a dime from that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, kickback. Yeah, you did. He gets dimes. Maybe nickels. I don't know. I meant feedback.
Feedback, yeah.
I'm glad you knew what I meant. But anyway, it's a good article. Read it. If you haven't yet, go to studentofthegun.com/blog.
Yep, and you can, and like I said, if you're signed up, you get the regular newsletters from us, and not only do you get the newsletter with the latest articles, what's happened with the TV show, what's new on Student of the Gun Radio. Jared, what contest are we doing next? Are we doing the flashlight giveaway next?
Yeah, I was going to ask you that, but I wasn't sure if I could do that.
No, go ahead. We just gave away the Century Arms 100% made in the USA AK-47, the C-39. with ammo and frog lube. And so the next thing we've got is we have the Legacy lights. Now, if you guys are watching Student of the Gun TV, you'll know that we actually just put up an episode, or it's going to go up. Is it tomorrow?
Was that this
or
one?
Monday?
Was that last week's, or was it the one that we're going to put up?
It's it's episode, season 5, episode 2 has Nightfire.
Yeah, it'll be out Tuesday,
Yep.
the June 10th.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the point is that in that we had a Legacy flashlight from our friends at Blackhawk, and we've got 4 of those in our hot little hands. I think they MSRP for right around $100, and we'll be giving them away. What? You're going to give them away for free for nothing? Yeah. And who are we going to give them to? We'll give them to you guys. We're going to give them to dedicated subscribers of Student of the Gun. So all you have to do to be eligible is be an active subscriber to Student of the Gun, and bam.
And active means clicking on the emails that are sent to you. You can forward the emails. Do something with the email that you get.
You have to actually open it.
Because it's an automated process that tells me who is active and who's not. So
Right. Yeah,
I can't personally select names. That wouldn't be fair. So I go to random.org and I type in how many subscribers we have. And then it gives me a number. And I pick that number subscriber. And then I give it to them.
There you go.
Active subscriber.
That's right. Random.org. That's how you can do that. So you want to you want to do that, definitely check out studentofthegun.com on a regular basis. Jared's always putting up new material. And like you said, we just put up an article 2 days ago, the illusion of neutrality. And you guys, thank you very much for all you guys who left feedback, who shared it, comments, and what have you.
And if you want to help with the kickback, there's little banners on the right side. Click on those and go buy some food and stuff. You get discounts for them.
Yeah. All right. Well, keeping with our California is insane. By the time you guys hear this show, you will have probably already been sick of hearing about the little spoiled brat Hollywood turd that decided he was going to take out his angst on the world. We're not going to say his name on here because we don't care. We're not going to make him famous. We're not going to give him his 15 minutes of fame because we believe strongly, and I'm not just messing around here, that one of the reasons, there's a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons that we have these spree killers and these 15 minutes of fame, natural born killer type douchebags is that we give them this notoriety. And you're like, yeah, but that's stupid, Paul. Their notoriety is as a killer. You're thinking with your brain. You're not thinking with their twisted, demented brain. And we're not going to promote that. But here's what we need to examine from the spoiled little Hollywood turd who just decided he was going to make the world pay for his angst, and because the world was just so unfair to him as he's driving around in his $50,000, sports car. We've got, when your friends and family or acquaintances bring this up, and they've been pounding the drum. All the gun prohibitionists and the opportunists in Washington and the state houses, they love these things. They wring their hands and they act all serious, but they love it. They can't wait. It's almost like the blood isn't dry on the pavement, and they're out there calling for more restrictions on your liberty because in their sick and twisted minds, they're trying to convince you that restricting your liberties and making you less safe by disarming you somehow is going to stop bad people from doing evil things. But if you have, friends or family or acquaintances that bring up this subject of this spoiled California turd, this Hollywood turd ball, what you might want to say to them is, you know what? I'm glad that you brought that subject up. I'm glad that we're discussing it right now. Let's take a moment to examine that situation. Well, we can take a moment to examine that situation and see how that situation shines a glaring spotlight on the utter and total failure of California gun control laws and even on some of the law enforcement. Because what do we know? Well, number one, I'll go ahead and knock this one off, and then we'll go and talk about the rest of it, is they're like, well, gun owners need to be profiled. and they need to have psychological examinations, and they need to this. And before we allow someone to buy a gun, they need to go through a licensing process, and where you have to interview them, and you have to give them a psychological evaluation, because we can't risk people with mental illness getting a hold of guns, because that won't happen. Well, all the signs were there. Everything that they asked for about the profiling and so forth, they were there with this spoiled brat turd. And guess what? They sent police officers to talk with this guy. And Jared, you read the story. So they sent cops over, and they're like, hey, we have some concerns, and we need to talk with you. And what did they come up with?
Apparently nothing.
What did they say? That there was nothing wrong, that he was a nice man, or fine, or what was the verbiage that they used? Do you remember?
Something I don't remember. I read that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So what do we know? Well, let me see. Because we're humans and we're not gods, we can't get into people's minds, and we can't see the future, and we can't tell what is going on in their brains. But for those of you who believe that, your friends and your grandma or your aunt or whatever, they'll tell you, well, I'm not against guns. I think people should be allowed to have them, but only after they've completed an appropriate background check. And only after, I think that's reasonable, that anybody who wants to buy a gun should have to go through a psychological examination. Really? Because you think that's going to stop evil people? Okay. So that was a failure right there. Now, what else do we know about California? We went to the NRA's ILA.org, NRA ILA, Institute for Legislative Action, and we clicked on California. Now, it says here, these laws are as of July 12th, 2013. Now, in California, if you want to own a handgun, you have to register it. And as a matter of fact, according to the law, it says residents moving into California have 60 days to register their handguns with the state. That's get state permission. Okay. Permission to carry. Now, right to carry. Now, this is another thing that they're like, well, we can't just allow anybody who wants to carry a gun because that's just way too dangerous. So what does California have? They have a discretionary carry system. And in order to get a permit to carry a gun in California, what do you have to do, guys? You have to go through several different hoops. You have to jump through several different hoops to get one. And one of them is an interview process where they determine whether or not they think that you should be allowed to carry a gun. And you have to show proficiency and background check. And then you have to sit down with a bureaucrat, a member of the state, and they're going to interview you, and then they're going to decide, based on that interview, whether they're going to allow you, the peasant, to carry a gun for self-defense. So as you can imagine, the number, California has millions upon millions of people in it, but the percentage-wise number of people that are lawfully carrying guns is probably, I would say, a lot less than a state such as Texas or Florida or even Mississippi, where the laws are, where it's a shall issue state, and you don't have to get a special, you don't have to go through a special interview. Now, yes, I know Mississippi, they have a permit system, but they also have a castle doctrine. They also have open carry. But, well, and you say, well, Paul, okay, you're hammering on California because all of their, they have a capacity restrictions. You can only have so much ammo. It's a good thing that they passed that 50 BMG, that 50 caliber ban. Arnold, hey, Arnold, thanks for stabbing American gun owners in the back and signing that there, the Terminator. Thanks for doing that. And we haven't forgotten. I haven't forgotten. So you mean that making it illegal to own a 50 caliber rifle in California has not stopped crime? What? Because up to that point, there were crimes every day where people went out and used, $5, $6 a shot, 50 BMGs to commit crimes. Oh, you mean they didn't? You mean that wasn't a problem? It was a bunch of bull crap? It was smoke and mirrors? Well, gee. And if we've got a little spoiled turd ball here, Hollywood turd who's decided he's going to, seek revenge on the world, why was he not stopped by all the mechanisms that California has in place? I thought more laws meant less crime. Is it illegal to commit murder in California? You guys out in California, ask me. Well, I suppose if the human is inside of another human, you can kill it at will. So there's that. But is it illegal to commit murder in the state of California? What it is? Well, then this story must be wrong, because if there's a law against murder, then certainly no one would murder, right? Ooh. You say, well, what are you saying, Paul, that we should, repeal the laws against murder? No. Okay. First of all, there's a difference between the prohibition of owning an object and an action. So what we're doing, instead of concerning ourselves with humans' actions, that the actions of evil humans, we want to concern ourselves with the possessions or the items and restrict the items that they own. And folks, if you want to see an abject failure of the gun control mentality, all you have to do is examine the case of the spoiled little Hollywood turd. And of course, then after that happens, if you want to see the bald-faced agenda of the restriction anti-gun movement, just look, it's almost like you go behind closed doors, if you're a fly on the wall, they would be smiling. They would be so happy that people were murdered with firearms, because this promotes their agenda, that you can somehow, and folks, if you think it's about guns, that these anti-gun people really believe, oh, well, we think you should have less guns, and ask them, say, well, why do you think police officers should have black rifles and AR-15s? Well, because they need them. Why do they need them? Well, for self-defense, to protect themselves. Oh, okay. So if you work for the state, you have the right to self-defense. But if you don't work for the state, then you don't have the right to self-defense. Well, you do, but you only have the right to self-defense with certain specialty items. Only the state can be trusted with big, mean, nasty, evil guns. You peasants cannot be trusted with mean, evil, nasty guns with pistol grips and detachable magazines. Thank God for the bullet button. Thank the Lord that California has a special detachable magazine bullet button regulation, because that obviously prevents crime. Oh, it doesn't? That didn't work? The bullet button law didn't prevent little Johnny spoiled turd from going out and murdering people? Oh, well, man, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to do.
You know what I'm tired of? I'm tired of people trying to blame video games on this, or this on video games. It's a combination. It's not just video games. It's a combination of what the kid does in his upbringing and who is influencing him. Did he have parents that cared? Obviously not.
Oh, you mean you can't just like throw objects at your children in as a substitute for parenting? So, and one of the I'm sorry for the innocent victims of this slaughter. I am. I feel bad for them, and I feel bad for their family. But taking away my rights to defend my family, taking away the rights of my wife and my children to defend themselves, does not bring your children back. Disarming good people does not hinder or inhibit bad people. There are always going to be evil people in the world, and we try and just it's like the article that I just wrote about Nuns Against Guns. Instead of focusing on the actions of evil human beings, we're going to focus on inanimate objects. Because why? Because inanimate objects can't fight back. Inanimate objects can't defend themselves. That is the intellectually lazy way to go about it. Well, we have to do something. We have to do something.
If we had as many people fighting for our rights as we do that watch football every year, then we wouldn't even be having this problem right now.
No, you're right. If people were as excited about defending the liberties that were paid for in blood. And let's face it, your grandfathers, great-grandfathers, the founders of this nation, they paid for your inheritance. They paid for what you have right now in blood, in sweat, in toil. And we're just throwing it away. You spend more time worried about your fantasy football league than you do about the fact that your God-given liberties are being eroded and taken away every single day. Well, but I like that. That's fun. And I don't like thinking about politics. Politics, I'm not into politics. Well, guess what? Politics are into you, buddy. Politics are into you. All right, dramatic pause. All right, where are we at on time, brother?
It's June 8th at... I'm just kidding.
Really? Really?
We're coming up on 35 minutes about.
Okay, well, we got another Go Team moment, and this one it's kind of a Go Team moment with an asterisk on it here. This comes to us from Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, where everyone is safe and happy because it is the city of brotherly love. Right, Jared? Maybe not so much. But this story comes to us from the CBS local affiliate in Philadelphia. And according to the title of the story, Cops, son of abortion doctor Kermit Gosnell shot during West Philadelphia robbery. Oops. What do we know about Kermit Gosnell? Kermit Gosnell is a freaking monster. Kermit Gosnell is probably, if we wanted to be honest with ourselves, people get all, you older guys. Jared, do you know who Joseph Mengele was?
No, I do not.
Okay, Joseph Mengele they called him the Angel of Death. He was a Nazi doctor that performed horrible experiments upon Jews and other prisoners. And they took it upon themselves after World War II to hunt this guy down and anybody who was involved with him. He did just terrible things. They've done books and movies and so forth about Dr. Mengele and the horrors. Now, Kermit Gosnell, on a Philadelphia scale, he's the Joseph Mengele of Philadelphia. He committed horrible atrocities against women and infants in his abortion clinics. And his son, apparently the apple didn't fall too far from the tree, but it says his son, who actually changed his name, what did he change his name to? He changed it to something else after his dad got all that. He changed it to Alexander. Let me see. It says a suspected burglar got more than he bargained for when police say he broke into a row house in Manaway. Police confirmed the identity of the suspect as the son of convicted abortion doctor Kermit Gosnell. It says 3 roommates living on a Brandywine Street in Manaway found themselves cleaning up today after a wild encounter with a man who tried to rob them. What? It says it started around 7 a.m. Now, what do we got again here, Jared? This is the second Go Team moment where it wasn't midnight, it wasn't 2 o'clock, it wasn't in the wee hours of the night. It was actually in the early morning. Do we see a pattern here? We might see a pattern here. But it says, police say it started around 7 a.m. They say that 22-year-old Baron Alexander broke into the back bathroom window, and while he was taking items, including wallets and cash, he woke up one of the 3 roommates, and a struggle began, and one of them showed up with a gun. One of the roommates showed up with a gun, and they shot Mr. Alexander, formerly known as Mr. Gosnell, and he is currently in the custody of the state. And is he? I think it said he was in serious condition, but they expected him to live. So, hey, Go Team moment for you folks in Philadelphia for defending yourselves. What we don't have this week, maybe because we just didn't search hard enough, we don't have a Detroit Go Team moment. But maybe by next week we'll have another one from Detroit. Well, yeah, we thought that was kind of interesting how we had we got a little celebrity Go Team moment there, or kind of a celebrity Go Team moment. Hey, brother, you're over there on the other side. He's got that intense look. He's working. Jared is a nonstop working man. And he's got that little intense look on his face. What's the intense look all about? Is it?
I'm working on the Student of the Gun University class, ballistic problem solving. I'm trying to get it up so that our audience can go sign up for it.
That's right, because
When is that going to be?
oh, it's going to be. Yeah, you got it open in front of you, brother. What day is Pistol 101? It's the next 2 days after that, September 20th and 21st. Sounds about right to me. Yeah, Jared. While Jared's opening that up, yeah, that brings us to a good point. We are in the process of we're rolling out many Student of the Gun University official training classes, because you can never have enough education. You're a beginner once. You're a student for life. And how are you a student for life? You're a student for life by continuously seeking out improvement and education. And we're going to help you do that through Student of the Gun University. We have our Beyond the Band-Aid fighting first aid class. This is not your typical CPR Heimlich maneuver stuff. This is keeping the good guys alive while you're waiting for the professionals to show up. Because believe it or not, you can bleed to death before the ambulance gets there if no one does anything. We also have a force options, because it's not always going to be a gun day, but sometimes you have to do something. And we break down all the myths and misconceptions behind tasers and pepper spray and tactical pens and flashlights and so forth. We have Pistol 101, which is if you're a new gun person and you know how to hold it, you know how to load it, and you haven't shot yourself with it yet, well, good. But you've got to build up somewhere. You have to establish a foundation, and that's what Pistol 101 is. It's a one-day class that we teach here. And then after that, we have a more advanced class called Ballistic Problem Solving, Thinking with a Gun in Your Hand. And let's face it, folks, if you are a gun carrier, if you carry concealed, if you have one in your home, you can't call those bullets back. You can't say, oops, my bad, let's do that again. You've got to get it right the first time. And that's what ballistic problem solving is all about. It's all about thinking with a gun in your hand. We go through lots of different exercises and educational things to teach you not only to think and problem solve, but to do it while you're engaging with a firearm.
Is Pistol 101 going to be a prerequisite to ballistic problem solving?
Yeah, actually the ballistic problem solving class, because the drills in there are a little more advanced, if you either have to take Pistol 101 from us, or you have to have a certificate from any other training academy. Like if you took, for instance, fighting pistol from Tactical Response, we would accept that. If you took a 250 class from Gunsight, we would accept that, things of that nature. I can't accept a CWP card because a lot of them are just a joke, but a real training certificate from a real school.
The dates for the Pistol 101 is going to be September 19th, 2014. And ballistic problem solving is the 2 days after that, the 20th and the 21st.
That is correct.
So just block out all 3 days. Come hang out with us for 3 days.
That's right. Come hang out with us here in free America. And all you have to do is go to studentofthegungear.com or click on the tab from our main page, and it says training courses. Click the training courses. Choose your course. Choose your dates. Make sure when you're looking at those classes, a lot of them have multiple dates. So pick whichever date suits you.
We sat down at lunch the other day, and Dad's not going to tell you this, obviously, but we sat down at lunch the other day with one of our friends, and the friend asked Dad, he's like, so what all training have you taken? What makes you qualified to be an instructor? And Dad's like, well, let me get out my giant book here and go through. He didn't say that, but he could have. What are some of the
why should somebody train with me?
Why should they trust you?
Right now. Well, I started my professional firearms training at age 19. I took the first professional training class with John Farnham when I was 19 years old. My first instructor's training class was when I was in the Marine Corps. I was a pistol and rifle marksmanship instructor, NRA instructor, Marine Corps pistol instructor. I actually went through the Navy's course as well, the Navy's course. Been doing use of force training for law enforcement for 20 years now. This is something that we haven't put up yet, but Jared and I were talking about it, and actually I kind of forgot to mention it though, Jared. I went through the Surefire low light instructors course a few years ago through the Surefire Academy, and we will be doing in the future a low light class because we have a range, believe it or not, where you can shoot after the sun goes down.
And I for the first time, it was a couple months ago, a month ago.
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago. It was the first time I had ever shot seriously in the dark, and it's an eye-opening experience for sure.
Yeah, things are a little bit different when the lights go out.
Yeah, you've got shadows. It's crazy.
Color issues, depth issues.
I was like, oh, that target's like 20 feet away. I'll whatever. And then I was like, oh, it's a little bit harder than I thought it was.
Yeah, a little bit harder. Things are a little bit different when the lights go out.
If I wouldn't have had those excess sights, it probably would have been even harder.
Yeah, and that's when you realize, what works and what doesn't is when you actually get out and use it for real. When you get to the range and put yourself through situations that you're less than comfortable with. How do you, Jared, how do you improve your muscles? How do you build muscle? Do you build muscle by staying comfortable all the time?
No, you basically tear your muscles down, and that's what rebuilds them.
You have to make yourself uncomfortable to improve. And that's something that a lot of, we've actually had, I've talked to a lot of professional instructors over the last decade or 2 decades and what have you. And one of the misconceptions that a lot of people have before they go to a professional shooting school is, well, before I go to the school, I need to get good. I need to practice more before I go to the school. One of my buddies, James, he laughed. He's like, dude, you're thinking about it all wrong. Because I don't want you to arrive unsafe, but thinking you can practice enough to take the class, that's the purpose of the class, is to teach you what to practice. That's the purpose of training, is to teach you how and what to practice when you go back home.
And what do we know? Bad habits are harder to overcome than no habits.
Yeah, exactly. And what a lot of people will do is, they've ingrained years and years of bad gun handling habits. And when you're training, you cannot train yourself. You can practice yourself, but you cannot train yourself. People say, I'm going to go to the range today and do some training. Say, well, are you? Who's going with you? Oh, it's just me. I'm going to go out. I'm going to take 100 rounds or so. I'm going to do some training. Well, you're not really doing training. You're practicing. And if you've never gone through training, you might not know exactly what to practice or whether or not your practice is effective. So that's the whole purpose of it. And in addition to that, and this is a big benefit of attending a professional training school, and a lot of people just look right over it, is the fact that you get to spend time with like-minded individuals. How many of you guys out there, you carry your gun religiously, you've got your permits, you've got everything, you did all your research, but you feel like you're an island unto yourself, that your coworkers don't get it and your family members don't really get it and your friends kind of do, but they do. That's a great thing about going to a gun site or to TDI Ohio or to Tactical Response or, you name it, is you get to spend time with like-minded individuals, people who get it like you do. And it's a very psychologically refreshing idea because, a lot of folks, they do feel that. They get that frustration. They're like, man, am I the only one on planet Earth that's looking around and thinks, man, things are not right. Things are not going well. And, Jared, we want to do a Patriot Fire Team pimp real quick? Let's do that.
Let's do that.
Well, I'll leave you guys with this, and we're gonna pull the plug on this in here in a second. But the Patriot Fire Team, and we had someone ask, Jared was wearing his PFT shirt this weekend. We were out, and we were actually enjoying a couple of cigars and adult beverages, and a gentleman walked up, and he looked at Jared's shirt, and he's like, Patriot Fire Team, what's that all about? And Jared's like, well, Dad, you want to say it? I said, okay. I said, essentially it's this. Here in the United States, if you are an intelligent person, if you look out across the landscape and you think, things are not going right in this country. They're not the way they should be. And you also say to yourself, I should be doing something. I know in my heart that I should be doing something, not just doing Facebook posts, not just sitting on my hands. What should I do? Well, the Patriot Fire Team and the organization of the Patriot Fire Team, that's why it's there. It's a guidepost for you. So if you're one of those people, you're sitting out there, you're saying, all right, I know I should be doing something, but I don't know what. I don't know what to do. I'm frustrated. I feel like I'm the only one on planet Earth, that sees the writing on the wall, which comes from the Bible, by the way. That phrase comes, the writing on the wall does. And so go to patriotfireteam.com. And off over on the right, I think it's on the right-hand side, but there's a little sign-up sheet. You put your first name, and all you have to invest. We don't want any money from you. You don't have to spend a dime. Just put in your first name, your email address, and it's just like the Student of the Gun thing. You click it, and you say, well, how is it different than Student of the Gun? Well, it's a little bit different because what we'll send you is a free report, how to get started. And it has guidelines for you and like-minded individuals. You and maybe your friends or your relatives or your neighbors, you have a couple, 2 or 3 guys or girls even, and they're like, you know what? We understand that things are not the way they should be in America, and we need to protect our families and our communities because, folks, it's not going to change in Washington, D.C. The change is not going to start there. Fixing the country isn't going to start in your state capital. It's going to start where you live. That's where you need to take care of business first. You need to make sure that your family is safe, that your community is prepared, that you got things taken care of where you are, and then move from there. And that's what the Patriot Fire Team is all about. It's like-minded individuals providing each other with mutual support and affirmation. And let's face it, if you can feel frustrated, and everybody sometimes needs a little bit of help. Everybody needs a little affirmation. Everybody needs encouragement. And that's what the concept of the team is for people to encourage each other. So check it out. Go to patriotfireteam.com. It's real super simple. And we made T-shirts. Everybody wanted T-shirts, so we made T-shirts. But you can go on there. You can get the free report. It costs you nothing. Just sign up for it, and once you confirm your email, it'll drop into your inbox, and you can read it at your leisure. Now, Jared, unless you have anything else to say to the folks, you have anything else to say to the folks here before we let them go?
That I would like to meet them in person, and they need to come take a class.
There you go. Come on down. Yeah, come on down to Free America. Spend a little bit of time with us. Enjoy the Gulf Coast. If you're a cigar smoker like our friend Fred, is it Fred or Bill? Or who's our in the? Oh, I know. I just put him on the spot. Anyway, if you're a cigar smoker, bring your cigars because in Free America you can smoke cigars. It's not like the People's Republic of California where spoiled little rich brats can kill you, but you can't smoke a cigar.
You can't even smoke a
e-cigarette.
Yeah, you can't even do that.
Yeah, well, that's a topic for another day. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you being with us again for another week of Student of the Gun. We thank you for being out there. Check us out all of our social media. Check out Student of the Gun TV, Dish Network, Monday nights at 9. Now on Roku, now on Apple TV, now on Chromecast. The app is free. All that Student of the Gun stuff just for you out there. Now remember, you're a beginner once, but you should indeed be a student for life.